Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my Q&A video. As I said in the original video asking for the questions, I've never really done this before, and I didn't know people still did it, but whatever, I think it'd be fun. Someone requested it. I learned a lot from the types of questions I was getting, like kind of what my channel looks for here. You guys are definitely here for the goalie content, and I don't blame you because I'm not that entertaining sometimes, but thank you for submitting your questions. I got to most of them that I could answer. Some of them I just couldn't answer because they were about like NHL 18 and 19 and stuff, and I can't obviously talk about that without getting sued. So that being said, let's get right into it. This one comes from Hokey, and it says, what kind of goal is the most annoying to let in? For me, it's the wraparound for sure. For me personally, it's those low wristers from the half boards that kind of go 5-hole or through your goalie's pad, it seems like right directly through the goalie model. And it's always from a left-handed left wing or a right-handed right wing. I don't know why more people don't use them. Those, you can't, like, it's 50-50 on those shots. That's the most frustrating for me. And I agree with you, wraparounds are frustrating, but they're better this year because they're a little more inconsistent, and defense kind of has to step up there and make sure the guy can't get that quick wrap off. But when you get those like super fast wrap animations, it makes me cringe a little bit. So thanks for your question. This one comes from T Mills, and he says, from a goalie's perspective, would you prefer to use the preset builds that are currently in the game, or would you rather have the ability to edit your attributes, size, and weight like old gen? This is an interesting question because you asked from a goalie's perspective, and from a goalie's perspective, the builds honestly don't really do anything. In an old gen, like, I couldn't really tell a difference, to be honest. I think it was, you know, after you play enough, like, you realize the biggest factor there is height. And so if they give us the ability to customize height and say set a limit of 6'5", everyone's going to use 6'5". There's just no, like, no one's going to be small, because it's dumb, because we know how it works. I think they need to revamp the way the attribute system works for goalies, and there's been a ton of concepts about that. But, you know, from a skater's perspective, I would like to see custom builds again, but with no grind. So everyone gets X number of attributes, and you can put them wherever you want. I think that should come back, and I think they should be allowed to edit their height. And, of course, if they do that, they should allow it for goalies. I just don't think it's going to matter too much. Everyone's going to use the same build. The points are going to go into reflexes. Stand-up butterfly hybrid won't really matter that much. The Steak Army asked, what was the hardest part in school for you? This is an interesting question. I was always decent at the school part. Like when I was younger, I was a science and math guy. And then when I got older, I kind of flip-flopped to be like English and art, which is interesting. But for me, the hardest part in school was probably grade 10, 11, and I got addicted to, like, I was like a pro Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty 2 player on PC, and I started like plagiarizing my English assignments to just practice video games, and that obviously got me in a lot of trouble. So that was definitely the hardest part. Don't do that. That's bad. You got to focus in school. Jesse R. asks, what are your pet peeves of defensemen when you're in net? What are things D-men can do to help you out? Well, honestly, for me, the center plays a more important role than just the D-men. But to answer your question, getting caught and facing a lot of breakaways are annoying for everyone, but mostly, like, they need to, if they're in position and able to, they need to be able to cover the posts for me, like on wraparounds and stuff, because if a player can get that quick backhand wrap off, it's super frustrating for a goalie. So the defense needs to be there to hit them and let me worry about the short side and the, you know, the piss wraps and everything like that. All right, and we have a very popular question from Will Canar in WAG4. Sorry if I botched that. Most saves I've had in the game and the most goals I've given up. Now, if we're excluding drop-in, which I'm going to exclude drop-in, I think in LG one time I gave up 12, maybe 13 goals. Like, my defense just gave up and was like laying on the ice and stuff. And then the most saves, I probably on the same team, to be honest. It was like I had like a 23 save game in LG and a like 21 or 22 save playoff game those are definitely the best. But like drop-in, I mean, like I faced like 50 shots before in drop-in. It was stupid. I gave up like, I don't know.
So
I don't know. I can't even tell you how many goals I get up and dropping because it's dumb. Caesar15 asks, what's your favorite color? It's purple. Nufi Kanata asks if baseball's even a sport. It's not. It's a really terrible business run by really insecure assholes. Big Body 907 asks, I've watched pretty much all of your 6v6 and I've seen quite a few players pick Grinder and they want to know if there's a reason behind that. Yes, there is. Most top players think that the Grinder has the best combination of like skating, like the way it feels. Obviously, all the skating attributes are the same on the builds, but they think it feels better. It can hit. It can play defense. It also, the offensive, like the way it plays offensively, it's the best. It's very hard to knock him off the puck. It can still shoot. It can still pass. It's really, honestly, one of the better builds if you can get over the skating. Not a lot of people use it. Like it also has pretty good hand-eye, so tipping in front of the net, it'll get almost anything. It'll pick up pucks. Like people just feel the best with it, which is why they use it. Now I know the attributes, and I'll just tell you right now, like they're pretty much the builds are pretty much what you'd think they'd be, but the Grinder definitely. There's a good reason why people pick it, and there's a good reason why people feel better with it, and I'll leave it at that. The Finn, for the win, asks, can you tell us anything for NHL 20? And he's being an asshole because I said in my original video I couldn't say anything about like NHL 18 or 19. So thanks for that, Finn. I can tell you that Dorsal Finn is probably going to lose to Frank in a goalie battle if it ever happens again. And right now it's looking like NHL 20 will be the time for that. Alex Pearl asked, do you think you could beat a Division 1 HUT player position locked as a goalie? And would you ever make a video trying? Now, this is a great question. I think that would be a great challenge for me. The only problem is I don't think I can get to Division 1 in HUT. As it like... I could goalie lock, but it would take a while. I could also try and play, but I'm not very good at the game, so that doesn't help. Yes, I would definitely make a video trying that if I can get to Division 1 HUT. I would probably honestly have to like, I would probably do like a play a friend challenge in HUT. My team is so bad. Like I don't play HUT, right? So I think my highest overall is like an 88 or maybe like a 92 Mike Bossy. So. I don't know if like my team would score. Game Changer Kid 20 asked, what made EA change the way goalie was played from 14 to 16? I thought goalie back in 14 was nearly perfectly executed. Now I'm 50-50 about it. This is a really, really good question, and honestly, it's a very important one to answer. I agree that in NHL 14, goalies played perfectly, at least in our eyes. And the only reason we're seeing that now is because we think next-gen goalie is bad. But if you remember back in the day when you played 14 and 15, there was a very, very, I don't know if it was a vocal minority or a vocal majority, but a lot of people were complaining about the unrealistic animations for goalie. And this is a very important topic right now because people are talking about realism versus arcade. Everyone wanted T-pushes for goalie. They wanted realistic movement patterns because it looked like they're just gliding on ice. They asked for more and more realism. They asked for a reverse VH. They asked for like being able to lean in the post. Everyone asked for all these realistic features, and with realism comes pucks going off your thighs and your armpits and going in, which happened in old Gen 2. But the reason is, to keep it short, is that people asked for more realism, and EA had to make significant changes to goalie to do that from 14 to 16 or from old gen to next gen, and now that's what we have. We have this realistic, and it would take a lot of work to go back. I think goalie in 17 right now as it is pretty good, but that's just to answer your question. I do like old gen goalie better just because it played a little better, but your answer is everyone asked for more realism, and that's what they got. Hype asked, why are you so good looking? And I'm going to assume the reason is because I haven't faced cam yet for anyone to say otherwise. Kyle Sharon asked, how long you've been playing goalie in NHL? What made you want to start playing goalie? Also, love the video. Thank you for that, Kyle. I appreciate it. I've been playing, let's see, I played ESHL like right when it first came out, around like, what was it, 09. I played that. I was mostly a center or right D because I played that in real life. But I would always like just dabble in goalie for fun, because as soon as you could play it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, let's play goalie. That's just a fun little side thing. And then it started in like, I want to say like 12 and 13 and 14 is really when I started playing goalie for real, because I couldn't find anyone to play goalie. Like, we wanted to play against a human goalie, and no one on my team wanted to do it. So I was like, I'll just do it. And then I ended up being okay at it. So they're like, well, you just keep doing it. Flashback Ghost asked, what made you want to start making videos on YouTube? This is a good question. I had a lot of free time around NHL 15, and I was playing goalie, and I noticed people. So you know when you like first start playing drop-in, and that dude from like Redneck Saskatchewan comes on his mic after you make a huge save, and he's like, holy shit there, goalie, nice save there, bud. Yeah, I lived for that moment. So I started getting good, and people started asking me in drop-ins, like, oh, how do you make, like, how are you so good? And then, well, I kind of didn't know the answer to that, so I started recording myself playing, and then I was like, well, I want to get better at this, so I started, like, making tips for myself to, like, remember how to be good, and sharing with everyone else because it was getting asked, and then eventually people just started watching. So yeah, I guess that's it. Like, I wanted to help myself get better, and then eventually wanted to start helping other people, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. Jesse asked, I play online as a pretty successful goaltender. What would you recommend as a style of play if I wanted to go to a team in the big leagues like you? That's funny you describe as the big leagues. Honestly, dude, if you're playing pretty well right now, you can probably just keep that style. The biggest thing people look for, like good teams look for, is just save your short side. But just, you know, basically just save your short sides and like the easy one-timers. That's what you have to save. And then breakaways, you know, save like 50% of them. And that's it. That's all people look for. Other than that, it's just getting your name out there and not being an asshole. Mr. Doggo asked, do you like games where you get a lot of shots, maybe not the best shots, or games where you don't have to take too much, but they take good shots? It's an interesting question. It's changed for me. In NHL 17, probably only the good quality shots, because I have a pretty good idea of what those look like, and I can save most of those. But in a game where like shooting can create such a random like rebound or 5-hole goal, I really don't like it anymore. It kind of makes me uncomfortable when a team crosses the blue line and just fires the low wrister on net, which is too bad because it shouldn't be that way. Because it used to be the more shots you face, the better, you know, you get in a groove kind of, and then you start saving the better shots because you're just ready all the time. It's not the case anymore. Those low crappy wristers are terrifying, and I honestly don't like facing those. So I do really like when teams try and set up and make nice plays because I can read those better. Iron Man asks, as a D-man from the point, is it better to shoot low on a goalie, or better to shoot at the body to handcuff the goalie? That's a really interesting question, but as I've kind of answered before, low. Always low from the point, across the grain, preferably from the half-boards, 5-hole. Anything low is going to give a goalie a fit. Now, on the same topic, Matt asked that he can't consistently save those sloppy wristers from beyond the circles and just past the blue line. Like he said, it's the most frustrating thing in the game. You can be aggressive, back in the crease, moving. Honestly, you got to stay still, especially in like the cross-grain blocker shots. You got to stay still, and you do have to, like, not being super aggressive outside your crease because that requires a lot of movement, but like just being up a little bit in your crease will help. Being back in your crease is going to result in the puck going like through your 5-hole and through your pads. Caesar asks, how do I get my defense to stop making drop passes in front of me? I think the answer is pretty obvious, that you just need to be a better human being. You can't see me. Kamikaze asks, when they're close to your post, are you more comfortable in the standing post lean when they're looking to pass across in the middle, or the butterfly post lock? For short side, I have a video on this. I always stand up, and on those sharp angles, I stand up next to my post, so I don't hug it, and I just move over in front of it. If they go behind the net, I prefer the butterfly post leans than standing. At any, like, standing post hug when they're behind the net, it's going to result in ugly goals, and you should know that by now. But like the sharp angle shots, definitely just standing up and moving over in front of the post is way easier. All right, so I got a couple questions of this. Paranoid and Connor asked, do I play goalie in real life? Connor specifically asking if I got my goalie tips from playing goalie in real life for the NHL games. I used to play when I was younger. I was like, the last time I played goalie, like seriously, honestly, was, 11. That's, which is ridiculous. But most of you guys know I play baseball, so I had to give up on hockey. And I was a right D mostly when I played. So I just kind of played for fun and played goalie for fun. I originally, when I first started my channel, I got my goalie tips from like goalie instructions and like goalie classes. Obviously, this game does not play the same way as real life. So I adapted my tips to NHL games, like the actual games and gameplay, because honestly, if you listen to my tips in real life, you're just going to get you're going to get burned by shots. Like, that's just the way it is. You can't play that deep in your crease. So definitely my more recent tips are strictly focused on the EA NHL series. Chris asked, what's one thing you hate about being goalie in NHL 17? I think I basically answered this earlier. It's just the inconsistencies, those low wristers from the half boards, the quick wraps, like the weird animations, like that's all. Just the inconsistencies are super frustrating. I think everyone agrees with that. Hockey Highs asked, how'd you become a god at goalie? I appreciate that, but definitely not a god by any means. I don't think anyone really is this year just because of the inconsistencies and the problems with it. I'll spin this a little bit. I'll tell you how people considered me to be a good goalie. First of all, having a YouTube channel definitely helps. That people see the best in you at all times, and I appreciate that. I have bad games too, though, but you can't learn anything from posting those on YouTube, so I don't. That being said, so started out, I played with really good clubs against other really good clubs, and I had a couple good games, and oh, this guy's pretty decent. So another team asked me to play that was a little better, and eventually you start facing better competition. And I had a really, really decent NHL 15, like old gen, at a high level, and then NHL 16, I had a really good October. Like, I played really well for a month in competition, and people are like, whoa, this guy's good, But, honestly, the biggest contributing factor is, I'm not a dick. I don't, tell people how to play, and I'm a decent enough person, to be in a party with. And that's all that matters. If a good team can tolerate you and enjoys having you on the team, and you bail them out every once in a while, you're going to be considered a good goalie in the community. That's it. Right now, the way goalie is, being a good, having good party presence, or just not talking at all and doing your job and doing the basics is how you become, considered good. And just being consistent with that. And that's it. No one is a god anymore because it's not old gen. And I don't even know if people are that good in old gen either. I think sometimes people get a little confused. So honestly, just be a good person and save your short sides, save a few breakaways here and there and a few cross creases, and you can be considered that good too. On the same level, Greach asks, how do you go from the CHL to the NHL and LG? Stats aren't always accurate. Depends on the team in front of you. I agree. And I never had to go from the CHL to the NHL. Honestly, you're going to have to bail out your team. You're going to have to play and develop some bad habits if you want to perform well. But honestly, the best way to go from the CHL to the NHL is trying to play club outside of LG with people and fill in for goalie play against good teams so that people recognize you, because that's how people in the NHL will tell you, the AHL people, who to get sometimes, and get this goalie, he's good, we want him. And then eventually you kind of build up a rapport with those guys, and they'll take you in the NHL. So just kind of get to know people in the community. You're doing a good job already in the goalie chat, so on Discord. So keep that up, honestly, and just make sure you're, like I said previously, you're just saving the ones you're supposed to save. Lonely Star asks, how do you control rebounds better? All the goals I'm giving up are rebounds. Do you just pick the butterfly class to prevent rebounds, or is it a trick to stopping a rebound shot? So the classes don't matter. Don't worry about that. To save rebounds better, there's no specific way. Just when a shot's coming from the point, Make sure you hit butterfly when the shot comes. You're not going to get beat up high, and be ready to know where the puck is going to go and anticipate that with the right stick. Right before it hits your pad, I would start moving. And when it's like a foot away or like 3 feet away from your pads, do it because of delay, and that's it. And just get ready to slide over, and you can make a pretty good save. The other thing is, not all rebounds like kick left and right? Some of them just hit you in the stomach and drop in front of you. You have to recognize that and just stay still and wait for it, and that's it. Big D asked, I've been playing goalie for a few weeks, doing extremely well. Main problem I'm having is against breakaways and issues reading them. What kind of advice can you give? Well, first of all, look for your defense to make sure that they don't have a side covered. Like if your D has one side of the ice covered, the other guy can't cross over. You have to trust him and take the other side and just stand up and overplay the post. But if it's a clean breakaway, guys are going to make a fake usually, and they're going to go one way and then go the other way. You can read that fake and slide out in front of it, or if they're all alone, you can do a diving poke check to come skate up to the top of your crease and do it. But honestly, mostly it's kind of just like recognizing that guys are going to go backhand, forehand, or guys are going to straight line to the other side of the net. You just got to face them more and more and realize them. But honestly, in high-level games, your defense is going to mostly cover one side, and if they do allow that skater to go to the other side and they have that space, most of the times the skaters are going to cut out there and take that space. So just get used to reading everyone on the ice, not just the guy with the puck. Blocky asks, do stances have an impact on goalie performance? And he knows the answer to this. I know the answer to this. It's just a very popular question, so I appreciate him asking that. No, stances don't have an impact on the way goalie performs, so pick whatever one you think looks cool. Another question from the Big D. He asks, is there a difference in speed across the crease, whether it's standing up or in butterfly in any of the builds? No. There is no difference anymore. There's supposed to be. And the most recent February patch made all the goalies faster. And there was a percentage increase between stand-up, butterfly, and hybrid. Stand-up was supposed to be the fastest, and butterfly was supposed to be the slowest, but since it was a small percentage increase, and then they increased the speed again, you can barely notice it anymore. But in the one patch where it was really hard to play goalie, and the goalies are still the same slow speed, you could definitely tell a difference between stand-up and butterfly. Caesar asked, what build do I use? I've just been using butterfly. It feels good. I know the attributes. Honestly, I don't think you're going to notice much of a difference between them. I haven't, since this most recent patch, I can't tell the difference between the builds. Hybrid's supposed to have a better blocker side, but I don't think it does. I don't know. I know Cons has started using hybrid, but I think he's just doing it to prove a point. I don't know. We can ask him. But I've just been using butterfly for fun. Matt asks on Twitter, how would you change or improve the desperation saves, if at all? I think this is huge. I would make them so there's momentum in them. Right now, the dive, I feel like is useless this year for some reason. I feel like you don't gain any ground. I want to gain ground on the dive. The stack to pad saves are perfect this year. When you hit it, you actually slide across the ice. There's momentum like there should be, but the dives, you kind of just dive in place. You don't gain ground. I want the spread eagle save to bring you back towards the post. I want to be able to do a lateral spread eagle save too, and be able to manually control that rather than the right stick kind of picking what one I want. I want to be able to control it. I think that would make playing goalie a lot better. I also want to be able to control the spinning backswing that you always end up knocking the puck into the net, because I think it needs to be switched what side you go to. I would just map it to circle or B on Xbox and up and down, and you can do a backside spin or a frontside spin. I think that would make it a lot better. Big F and Jinx asked, do you think goalie movement speed in relation to player movement speed was sufficient this year? My answer, in short, is yes. Right now, I think goalie is playing pretty well, besides the obvious bugs. So this most recent patch, yeah, goalie speed got a lot faster. I think it's pretty good the way it is now. Honestly, I want the momentum back that we had earlier in the year, where if you were moving into a save, it made you go that way, like further, and people thought this was like the reason for cross-grain snipes, but now we know it's the blocker animation that does it. I think we can bring back that momentum. I really miss it, to be honest, but otherwise, at the beginning of the year, definitely not. It was really slow, but I think they did a really good fix for it in the most recent patch in February. I think it's great. And lastly, Alex Galchenyuk asks, "How are you?" "I'm doing better, man. I'm in a pretty good place right now. Maybe I wasn't a couple weeks ago, but now I'm feeling better," and that's what it's all about, the contrasts in life. Thanks for asking, buddy. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.